Hello and welcome to my CraftStudio Space Invaders tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to take you from the very beginning all the way through to the end of creating a game, and the game we're going to be creating is Space Invaders. In 1978, the classic and iconic arcade game designed by Tomohiro Nishikado was released. I was 7 years old, so you can do the maths. It is one of the earliest shooting games, and its aim is to defeat waves of aliens with its laser cannon and to earn as many points as possible. So in this tutorial I will recreate that classic game, and I'll show you how you can create your own. So let's get started. So what we've got here, we've got our main game scene, and you can see we've got several game objects already here. So I've got a camera, a background, a player, an invader, and a bullet parent. And what I'm going to do in this particular episode is we'll just get ourselves started. We'll see how far we get on, but basically I'm going to help get us started to move our player from left to right, which is our laser cannon at the bottom, and that's what this guy looks like down here. So there's our laser cannon, and let's just take a deeper look at the scene and what it's made up of. So the camera's here, over here, and I've positioned the camera at 0, 0, 0. I've connected the background to it, so these things stay connected with each other. And you can see, and I took some time arranging, wibbling about all over the place, arranging where the camera goes and how it intersects and how it looks at each other. And the player, I've got the player in the center. Okay, the X, which is the red one here, okay, goes from left to right, and that's at the center, and it's centered on the camera, and it's also centered on itself, and that's going to be useful when we write the scripts. It's Y, which is the up and down, if you like, is 11.5. No, it's not really going to move up and down, it's just going to move left and right. And the Z, which is -25, and the Z is important because I need to connect the Z here with the Z of the aliens at the top, who are kind of going to spawn in and descend, because they need to be at the same area. So when my fire lasers up, it's going to hit them, it's not going to miss them, it's not going to go behind them or in front of them, it's going to hit them squarely in their alien faces. Okay, so let's have a look at the player. What I've got here is I've got a scripted behavior attached, and obviously a model renderer. So let's have a look at the model, which is the shooter. So here's our model, really simple, just some cubes and a little mini cube at the top, and you can see there's my my texture for it. So yeah, super simple. If I just select one of them, I just had that like that. So it's yeah, it's dead simple. And you can kind of see there's the stars. The background is another simple block. It's just one block really, and I kind of got a gradient that I copied and pasted from another application, pasted it into here, and then I just added the little dots in CraftStudio's own paint program, kind of just 1 pixel wide. And then when I took it into the main game, the background, I actually stretched it, so it's a bit stretched so it would fit in. That's how I made those bits. So let's get to the nitty-gritty bit, which is the kind of the scripting part. So if we look at our script here, we've got a screen size, we've got move player, we've got Space Invader. We're going to be doing move player today, but I'll quickly show you screen size. So the way we kind of get the screen to be the right size, and I want a kind of HD size, which is 1280 by 720. I've created this one, so it's set screen width by whatever number you want it to, and you can have it kind of tall as well. And I've put that into the camera because the camera's not going to move either. So I've just been able to add this script to the camera. So when the scene loads up, it calls that, sets the screen size, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, so let's go open up Move Player. And although I've written some of the scripts here, I've just commented this stuff out for the time being, so we can kind of concentrate on how on earth any of this stuff works. And I'm going to basically show you the steps that I took in creating this game. So I thought, first of all, what I need to do is I need to make this the player move from left to right. And how am I going to do that? Now, some of the times we can actually use it's on the x-axis. So that's the thing that we're going to have to move, and you can see down here on update I've got move the self game object by a global offset, and I've put a value in the x-axis. I haven't put anything else in anything else, so I'm just going to be moving it along there. And the way I come to this value is well, let's just start with on awake. So first of all I need to set a speed. What speed am I going to kind of move at? So I've created a little variable called self speed, and I put 0.3. Okay. The nice thing is we can change that and it will change all the way through. So once I've got my first variable set up, I thought, right, okay, I need to find out where I am at all times. Okay, and that's going to be useful for when I want to kind of stop at the edge and do all sorts of different things, and also when I want to fire my laser. So it's a really important variable to kind of possess, if you like. And the way to do that, to find out where your character is all the time, is you say self.pos, short for position, to global position of the value of the self game object. And we can see there the game object there. Okay, and that will return us three numbers: the x, the y, and the z. And then I create a local variable, and I've called this one move. And I thought, right, what I need the value of, you know, it's either going to move in the positive on the x or the negative on the x. It's at the moment it's right in the middle. Okay, so I can offset it either positively or negatively. And I thought, well, we can use the axis value of horizontal. What on earth is that, you ask? Well, if we go into the home and we go to the administration cog, we've got some game controls here, and we've got horizontal game controls, we've got vertical, and we've got fire. So if we go up to horizontal, which is the thing I'm using, we can use a keyboard, a mouse button, joystick. It's mainly for kind of like a joystick thing, but I'm going to be using the keyboard. I'm going to be using two keys, the A and the D key. So positive axis value is going to be D, so that's going right, and negative axis value is A, that's going left. And what happens is when I press D, I get a kind of a 1, a positive number 1. If I don't press anything, I get a 0, and if I press A, I'll get a negative 1. Okay, so let's go back into here. So what I'm basically doing is, if the axis value, if I press D, is 1, I get 1 times the value of speed. So 1 times 0.3 is 0.3. Okay, if I don't press anything, then it's like nothing times the self speed is nothing. Okay, so it doesn't go anywhere. So, but if I press A, it's like negative 1 times self speed is negative 0.3. So that's how it moves backwards. And if you want any more proof, let's do those calculations. So let's do so the axis of horizontal is like 1 times 0.3 equals 0.3. Okay, so the negative of that is minus 1 times 0.3 equals minus 0.3. So that's how we come up with these, with it moving on its offset. Okay, so let's test it out by pressing F5. So A and D. A and D, there we go. It's moving left to right, which is brilliant, but unfortunately it is also moving off the screen, which is a bit of a problem. We don't want it to move off the screen, so I'm going to have to add a little bit more code to stop that from happening. And I've got the code that I prepared earlier, so I'm going to pull this in now. So we're going to add a condition and try and move that away. So I'm going to say if the value of self pos x, so what this means is it's looking at this variable here, and because this is getting updated at 60 times a second, we're getting a new variable, a new x position all the time, or 60 times, so faster than we will be able to move. So it says if the self position equals less than -15, so if it's far left, set the value of self speed to 0. And what that does is basically, when it tries to move, it's going to come up with this. So this variable up here will be like 1 times 0 equals 0. So even if I am pressing A, it won't go anywhere. So let's show you what happens with that. So I'm going to press F5, and we're moving left and right. Let's move it there, and I've stopped, which is great. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to take us back the other way. So let's put the next bit in. So if the value of self position is less than 15, which is really about this, so if I move this left here, you can see that, well, I wouldn't get that far. I kind of get to about there. That's the edge of the screen, and we can see that it stops. So let's just return that back to 0. And again, that'll be the positive. Let's pop it back to 0. So I can do the opposite to make sure it doesn't go on the right hand side. But of course, we get stuck because self speed now is 0. Okay, so we need to add even more conditions. So the next one, we're going to do this. So we're going to say if the value of horizontal is 1, so if it's positive, so if I'm pressing D, and the value of the position X of the self is less or equal than to -15. So basically, if I'm stuck in the left-hand corner, okay, it's less or equal to the -15, the position, and I'm pressing D, I now can set the self speed to 3. So I'll move out of that position, but only in one direction. So I can't ever move left again because I'm pressing a positive on the horizontal. And let's do the kind of opposite. Okay, so this one is like if the axis value of horizontal equals -1, so if I'm pressing A, okay, so I'm trying to move left, and the value of position X is more or equal to 15, so if I'm right on the right hand side, then set the value of self speed to number 0.3. So let's see what happens now. So I can move left, and I stop, but I don't get stuck because if I press D, I can move out again, and then we have it. So we can move left and right, and we get stuck on each side of the screen, which is pretty cool. And now the way that I sort of came up with these things, and the way I found out what numbers are, and when it looked good, was basically I had a look on here, and I did a lot of testing. So during my kind of time trying to figure out where the edge was, and especially on this section up here, I just put a number in and pressed F5 and found out what looked the best, and thought that was great. And I've always got a little bit of paper right next door to me, and I just write numbers down. So I've got a constant kind of a little bit of notation helping me figure out where stuff is and how stuff will work. So I hope you've. I'm going to keep these really nice and short, so you can kind of work on them yourself. So that will get you your player moving left to right and hitting the sides of the walls. So in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to fire something. We're going to fire a laser beam out of our little controller, out of our little laser cannon. So until next time, thanks very much for listening. Take care now, and bye bye.